Big changes are coming to Michigan State University as two colleges prepare to become one. Good evening, everyone. I'm Taylor Gattoni. The College of Human Medicine and the College of Osteopathic Medicine are now MSU Medicine. University officials tout new educational and research opportunities, but some members of faculty have concerns. News 10's Bobby Cushing joins us live in studio to break it down. Bobby.
Yeah, good evening, Taylor. University officials said the unification is intentionally designed to preserve the identities and histories of both colleges. They say this will lead to clinical and instructional collaboration that was not possible before and further opportunities within the curriculum. Yet people teaching at MSU say they want more say in the future of the program.
This is the first important step that will then allow us to move forward with some of the implementation.
Michigan State University Provost Laura Lee McIntyre says an important step was made on Friday as the Board of Trustees approved the unification of the College of Human Medicine and the College of Osteopathic Medicine under one new name, MSU Medicine.
I talk often about the things that are uniquely MSU, that I think where we will lead nationally and globally, and I think this is one of those. We have a incredible opportunity here.
University President Kevin Guskowitz says MSU Medicine has the potential to become a global leader in medical research. The unified school will have a combined annual resource base of more than $500 million.
It will facilitate a singular front door for our clinical partners. It will facilitate greater opportunities for curricular overlap.
But the approval did not come without pushback, as one faculty liaison pointed out during Friday's meeting.
It is still a cause of great consternation for many, and we are still pressing for more faculty and staff seats at the table as key decisions are being made. We have a key role to play in transformative change, but we can only do so when we have seats at the table.
But President Guskowitz says as the merger progresses, he wants to continue to hear from faculty.
I have said repeatedly that faculty's input has been really important in the process up to this stage. It's been about an 18-month process, and they certainly will be involved in this next phase.
Provost McIntyre says it will be roughly 2 years before the two colleges can be brought together. The university has established a steering committee and a set of working groups to determine the next steps. Taylor.
Thanks, Bobby. The members of the committee and working groups are expected to be confirmed by the end of the month, which their work beginning in May. Now taking a look at a